Hi, welcome to The Real Generation Gap. I'm Rudy Ruiz.
I'm Fred Satilli.
And today we're going to be talking about the new film, Weapons, that just came out a couple weeks ago, August 8th, apparently. This is written and directed by Zach Cregger, who also directed and wrote Barbarian, which is another one I loved. And I thought about suggesting for the podcast, but haven't done so yet. This stars Julia Garner and Josh Brolin. And I'm just going to read this part right here because this is the best kind of description. Last night at 2:17 a.m., every child from Mrs. Granny's class, isn't it Miss? I don't think she was married. Miss Granny's class woke up, got out of bed, went downstairs, opened the front door, walked into the dark, and they never came back. So great mystery right out the gate. I remember that in the trailer. They hit you with it with the opening scene, and you have this narration from a little girl who's never in the movie, but it's just this little girl's voice kind of giving that monologue and explaining what's going on.
Ostensibly a kid from the class, like a little schoolgirl.
Right, yeah.
She tells that, you know. Yeah. And it is Miss Grandy. She's not married. Yeah. Right. Good catch on that.
Yeah, and man, I wasn't really planning on seeing this, and a bunch of people were telling me, dude, you got to go. It's good. It's great, blah, 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 or asking me my thoughts on it. And when I realized, like, oh, yeah, it's from the guy that did Barbarian. I loved Barbarian, and I went into that movie blind. The first time I saw it, like, crazy experience. No idea what I was in for. So I went into this, and I remember seeing a trailer many months ago, but I kind of forgot about it. So I went in mostly blind again, and it was great.
There is no way that you can possibly... This is a story that's never been told. It's not, just a remake of, the Amityville Horror or something. It's not one of those things. It's not the Chainsaw Massacre or something like that. This is a completely new idea. Yeah. And that's what makes it great.
Yeah.
Not that every other part isn't great. Because filmmaking now is at the height of, it's incredible, everything that they do, But the fact that it's really a new and unsuspected story. Now, I know you're going to give some spoilers in this one. I know you don't usually like to spoil the end for somebody, but you can't help it with this movie because it's that great, and nobody can really guess. Like, no matter what you think you're going to see, no. And I made we have a lot of experience, and everybody, all you have a lot of experience watching movies, and you think you know what's going to happen, from having a lot of experience, but you don't.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen, and like I said a moment ago, that's what makes it great.
Yeah. It really is a great mystery, and it kept me just like, I want to know how this is going to unfold. Let's get there. Let's get there. And it keeps you moving, and I do like the way it's broken up into kind of smaller story segments following certain characters, and then it kind of builds up to, our climax.
Yeah, the beginning's a little slow start.
Yeah.
It's kind of a slow start. Then there's the crackhead section.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's that little boy going in the door of that house section. And I'll tell you something, those settings are especially creepy. The suburbs are a weird place.
Yeah.
Because every one of those houses, something's going on, and you don't know what it is, and you don't know what those people, what they do. And they can be extremists in any kind of a way, or they can be, substance abusers, or just whatever it might be, And it's all this privacy, and I'm a major proponent of privacy. But man, I just feel like once a year somebody ought to be able to walk through your house. And just, you know what I mean? And
just make sure you're
why
on
do you
the up
have
and
medieval torture stuff in your basement?
Right.
Just say, you can have it, but, why do you,
right.
Because stuff goes on. And you probably, I don't know if you even remember the Stepford Wives, the movie The Stepford. This was like a community very much like mine that had a lot of industrial locations. And all the women in the town were like an idealized kind of wife, if you like the subservient kind of wife. They were all concerned with polishing their furniture and stuff.
Right.
And a woman moved in the neighborhood, and she said, "Why is everybody like this?" And they said, "Like what?" And she looked around, she goes, "I don't know what goes on in any of these big buildings, all these chemical companies and all like giant places with trucks. Well, what goes on in there?" And that element makes this movie especially creepy. A cute little boy, the most unassuming little boy ever, runs home to this house and he goes in the front door and all the windows are all newspapered over. What's going on in there?
Yeah.
It's creepier than a Dracula castle.
Yeah.
Like the Dracula castle, you know what's going on in there. They're sucking your blood, you know. But here, what are they doing and why is he okay with it? And why he's okay with it is the most horrifying part of it. He knows and understands the omnipotent power that's standing above him. And when I first started to see that, it's like, here's a little impressionable boy who sees that his wacky aunt is able to do stuff way beyond human ability. And then I started thinking about religions, and I started thinking about these, clergymen who abuse children and abuse adults because they have sort of a connection to like an incredible power that's mysterious, and they get away with that. And all that stuff came running to me. It was like, just imagine if you can convince people that you have some kind of power, they did and he understood his role.
Yeah.
He understood that outside that door he had to be a perfect follower. Just the way like the Nazis had to be perfect followers. It was like,
right.
Everything was, we're not questioning the Fuhrer or something. Man, that kind of stuff is that's to me that's more creepy than a guy with a chainsaw.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just sort of deal with a chainsaw guy, but something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I'll say it again. Thanks for reminding me. We are going to go into spoilers, so this will be a full-on spoiler discussion. I'll say right out the gate, recommend the movie if you haven't seen it. Go in with as little knowledge as possible. From this point on, we are spoiling what happens, so don't rob yourself of that if you haven't seen it. But yeah, to your point, that there is something to horror movies that can make the suburbs really look eerie. One movie that really came to mind when I was watching this was Prisoners, Denis Villeneuve's film with Hugh Jackman.
Right.
Another one where just like the neighborhood becomes such a scary place when a couple kids suddenly go missing and they're investigating and all that. And there's a lot of other films that kind of tap into that idea.
Yeah, Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet. Blue Velvet is another one, yeah. And one thing, I'll get into the character of the teacher real quick. Her name was Justine, played by Julia Garner.
My God!
And
wait! Hold on a second. Hold on. I don't know how you feel about Julie Garner, but I fell in love with her in Ozark.
Same.
And then we did Wolfman.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God. So now forget it. I'm totally hooked on her.
Yeah.
I'll watch any movie that she's in.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and look at her filmography and see if I can catch up on some stuff because, man, she's the great, oh boy. The great thing about her is, for heaven's sakes, I'm going to have to turn this off. I can't believe I forgot the movie guy, right? Like, turn off your phone, everybody. Yeah, the great part of it is that she's not like Hollywood attractive. She's not like the bombshell girl or something with a phenomenal figure or doing weird athletic stuff or anything like that. She's just as fine an actor as you could be. Totally convincing all the time. I just find her really, really appealing. She was such a little monster in Ozark.
Yeah, loved her in Ozark.
In this film, a terrible thing has happened in her classroom. A giant school full of kids, 1,000 kids. Her little classroom of 18 students, 17 of those students ran away from home in the night, except for one who just showed up in class the next day. And the whole town says, you did something. You're the one thing that connects all these kids. And Josh Brolin painted Witch on the side of her car, which I thought was kind of cool. I kind of wanted to paint it on my car, But anyway, it was, and the way she handled it, it's her part where she was, I'm not responsible for this. I'm as curious as the rest of you. I can't explain this. And she sort of held her ground all through, and that was impressive. But I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I'm just so enamored with her.
No, she is a great actress, and I did like her character. And what I really appreciated about her character is they kind of leave it open. We don't know where the mystery is going to go. Like maybe she did have something to do with it, but I still never quite felt that way. But at the same time, what I liked is that she's a flawed person. I appreciated that she wasn't like an all good, everything that she's like, her thought process is like, this is stressful. I'm going to go to the liquor store and get a handle of vodka and get hammered. And like,
an armload.
And then I'm going to hook up with this cop who I know is in a relationship.
She's having an affair with a guy. Right?
Yeah, and I actually, I like that. I like that she was in this gray area of morality. You know what I mean? And she felt very human and very authentic because of that. And to your point, the way she did hold her ground, and it was scary and suspenseful when you get to these moments where she's getting phone calls or is someone in that car watching her, and now the wife of the cop comes and assaults her in the store and all this stuff.
Another random problem for her.
Yeah,
but she's got a problem with the whole town because of the missing kids, and she's also got a problem with the girlfriend of the guy that she's having an affair with.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So when she attacked her in the convenience store. The gas station store, I thought she was somebody from the town, like a mother of a kid.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But she's like, you slept with my boyfriend.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, she's really good. And I like that, she also wants to find answers too. And she's being very logical and like going to the kid's house and like, let's figure out more from the one kid that did show up and, hey, there's newspapers all over his windows. Like something's weird. We need to check this out. But, because whatever protocols the school system has, they got to kind of have her back off and all that. And so I like that aspect. And of course, Josh Brolin being the very angry father who's immediately, she's the enemy. And of course, he's going to believe that and want to like full force investigate her. And,
and
grieving father going to the cops. Yeah, it does. All of it. Yeah.
Too.
His whole motivations, everything. And I like when he starts doing his investigation, okay, where did the kid run? And I thought this was a good, simple, funny part. One, the little cameo by Justin Long is like, when Josh Brolin goes to the house of that lady and he wants to see the footage and she's like, I'm not comfortable with it.
Right.
So he waits for the husband to come home and he's like, yeah, sure, come in. And, and he's just in there on their computer like, while she's like watching in the background. I just thought that was funny. And, he starts to kind of put these pieces together. And I got to say something too on the cinematography tip, because there's both moments where they have nightmares, where Julia Garner has a nightmare and Josh Brolin, he's in his kid's room. He has a nightmare. And the cinematography in this movie is, man, they are not afraid to go dark. There's so many scenes where it is like really dark and you're really forced to kind of look. And I love that. It's hard to do it well and effectively and to make the image very clean while also being dark. And I think Larkin Seipel shot this and they just really nailed that aesthetic. And, a lot of filmmakers are afraid to go that far. Clearly they weren't in this movie and it really works.
Well, it makes the jump scare strong.
Yeah.
And this is not a jump scare movie. There are 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But
you get a few.
It's not that.
Yeah.
That is actually one more character in the movie. One of the things I liked about this movie, Rudy, was the variety of characters. Mm-hmm. Like they had the crackhead guy. Mm-hmm. He was phenomenal. Then they had Benedict Wong, who was the principal, and he's the guy like smoothing everything over. Let's
poor guy.
Let's do this in a politically correct way. We have guidelines. We have to follow the guideline. You seem a little upset. She's going absolutely nuts. She's like, I understand your anxiety. We all appreciate it. Everybody's, and so all those characters made the movie really more real too.
Yeah.
It was kind of like Jaws that way, where they had all those different people that had some stake in it. And of course, when he goes crazy.
And that was such a creepy look. Like the design and the makeup and just the idea. And it's so simple, but before we get into his kind of story of how we got to that point when he just randomly attacks her, and you're kind of thinking like, is that him? That's the guy, right? That's the principal guy.
Yeah.
And he's got like the black and dirt on his face and his eyes are like bulging out of his
the Joker
sockets.
lips,
it's like it's just such a creepy look.
It's a transformation.
Really effective, yeah.
It's transformation.
And when we see how that kind of comes into play and how they use that on other people, essentially making the people into weapons and they become these zombie monster people. It's like, yeah, very, very creepy. And I'm glad they can find, because we've seen stuff like that before, right? Like, oh, someone's possessed, they're running and hooting and hollering and whatever.
Yeah.
But in this, it like they did just enough different to really amp it up and elevate it to something fresh. Yeah, that was a great scare moment right there. And I hate to see him have the fate that he has, because he's just trying to do his best.
Yeah.
This poor guy.
Yeah, his transformation was just so unfair.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing if the crackhead went nuts.
Right.
But this is the most, he was gay. He had like a man
Right.
in his home. He was the most passive guy and everything. But she made him into the psycho killer.
Yeah.
And when I say she, holy mackerel. Amy Madigan.
And Gladys.
Oh my God, Gladys. Her acting when she first went to the school with the red wig on, with the glasses and everything, and I need a ball.
Yeah.
You know, she's going to do the witchcraft.
Yeah.
A ball? You need a ball? Yeah, I don't even make apologies
Yeah,
anymore.
right. Yeah.
I just,
yeah. Just the particular. Yeah, no, again, great makeup on her, great performance, great everything. That whole vibe. I mean, I feel like that's got to be, it's one of the horror performances for the ages. I think it'll be eventually. Time will tell, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like even just that imagery of her with the glasses and the smudged lipstick, and again, very Jokerish, like you said.
Right.
And then when Julia Garner's having a dream and she sees it in the kid, that's the image right here where he puts his head up and he's got the same makeup.
His head's down on the desk.
Yeah.
And when he looks up, he's got the blue eyes
Yeah.
and oh man.
It's like, again, very, very simple, very effective, and an image that really stays with you. Even, you know, when the crackhead guy is like running through the woods, like trying to get away from the cop, and it looks like she's like digging or something, and she's just in the dirt and like picks her head up. That made me feel very like Pennywise, you know, It the clown kind of thing. Like,
yeah, right.
Kind of vibes in the woods and just looking and smiling at him. And
You know, it's interesting that the character that, you know, Aunt Gladys, right? There's whole movie genres where they have like 14 episodes with the same monster, right? And it's like that she could be that. They just have one movie with that face and that persona, but it's cool enough, like, you know, Scarface or well, not Scarface, but what, Leatherface or what?
yeah, Leatherface.
You know, like, yeah, they actually made. It almost seems like a waste of a character to just make one movie with Aunt Gladys.
Right.
Like she could be a genre almost.
Well, and so I just read this maybe yesterday. Supposedly, I don't know if this is true. I don't remember the source, but they're in talks or working on making a prequel about her character. And so they're thinking the same as you. It's like, yeah, you can take that movie Monster, make a whole thing out of it. And you could, and it could potentially be good. But I really like the mystery. And I like that by the time we get to the end of the movie, we still don't really know anything about her or how or why, what her background. You never learn about it. We do know that she is, in fact, like crazy enough, the aunt to that kid's mother. You know, they are family and this and that. And who knows what, obviously the mother didn't know what was happening, like how crazy this was. But I like that mystery that we don't really know. And I almost wonder, and I feel like it could possibly, I don't know, like make it worse if we do learn too much. It's good to have the mystery, I think. I would rather have that over too many answers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to see sister of Aunt Gladys and daughter of Aunt Gladys, you know,
right.
Return of Aunt.
Yeah. You know. But I do know what you mean. Like there is something there where it's like you could do a lot. And again, I feel like it's going to become an iconic image. And you don't want to waste that, but
it'd be as if they made one Dracula movie,
right?
And then that was it.
Yeah, I will say, you know, you were talking about your experience in the theater. You had a packed house. Mine was about half full because I saw it in a matinee. But you know, I had a lot of good reactions in my theater too, which was fun. Laughing at the right moments, cringing at the right moments. The biggest cringe, audible, everybody really clenching, was in the moment where Julia Garner is in the car waiting outside the house. She's like staking out the kid's house.
Right.
And then it cuts to her asleep. And then when you just see the door open and it holds in like the darkness for a little bit. And then the lady walks out with the scissors all crazy. And at this point, you don't know what the heck's happening and why.
She's going to kill her with the scissors.
Yeah.
Right? She's going to stab her.
But when she walks up to the window and then like goes around the car and the camera holds in the shot on Julia or on Justine, and then you just hear the door open and shut. Everybody gasped and cringed and made all the noises.
Yeah.
That was probably the creepiest moment and the most, I think, well directed, well thought out. Like, I see stuff like that and I'm like, man, I wonder if the guy, Zach Cregger, imagined that sequence first and like, okay, I need to build a movie around this because it's so effective and so cool, and the whole way it's shot, the darkness, her coming out, the way she's walking all crazy, and
real Nosferatu.
Yeah, and we don't know why yet, but now it's like, oh, because she's like basically a puppet for this witchcraft that's going on and is all gnarly. And
so for all that drama, it was snip, and then she just like went back in the house, and she, what the, what, wow, yeah, and everybody in the whole theater, why, why? You had a lot of that reaction from people. Like people like looked at each other in the seats, like, did I miss something? Like, it really was like that. The whole movie was like that, where you didn't know what was going to happen next. And there's things I want to talk about, but I don't want to slow down your momentum because I know you have things that you want to say about this. So,
I was just going to say one more thing I appreciate, and we saw a little bit of this in Barbarian without getting too much into that, but how different people scare to different things, right? Like,
yes,
they're all afraid of the house and this and that, and you can't go in and it's super creepy. They're running away. But then when you get to like the drug addict guy, and this is kind of his world, right? And no problem.
Yeah, it was comic relief.
He just breaks into the house. Yeah. He's literally in the house. It's like he sees the people sitting there like, I guess they're
zombies or just
strung up. Yeah, he's like looking at stealing stuff. And it just
when
so
they don't
funny.
Get up, he continues stealing.
Yeah,
he's like, keeps, all right, you aren't getting up. You stay there.
And it's just so interesting to me and like so true. Yeah, right. Like tries
to wake him up a little bit,
Yeah. For anybody else, that would be a terrifying. You wouldn't dare go in there, but for this guy, he's just living his life, doing his thing, doesn't care. Right. And then when he sees the kids down there, which is a very creepy moment too, they're just all standing there staring at the wall, very like Blair Witch-esque. And he freaks out. He does leave, but he's just like, oh, the reward, $50,000. And that's the only thing on his mind is getting this money. And it is kind of sad, the irony of like, they could have cracked the case. They could have solved it. But the way the cards fell and landed, the series of events leading up to it, it just didn't work out that way, which is too bad. And, bad things happen.
Well, when you said when he saw the kids, I always like to interact with the audience. So when I leave, I ask them what they thought or whatever it was. And some guy said to me, talking about the kids, some guy at the end of the movie said, what did you think of the movie? I said, I'll tell you what I'm not going to do when I go home, and that's eat a bowl of soup. Feeding everybody the soup, right? And that made the guy laugh.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, my God, I forgot about that. But one of the things, you taught me the expression auteur, and this is when basically one guy makes the whole movie, and Zach Cregger, he even took a hand in writing the music in this movie. In addition to like directing and producing, Josh Brolin did some production. So it's his movie too. And what a great typical father.
Yeah.
And he was a single father.
No, he had his wife there. There was one part where
but I mean he wasn't there was no home life scene or his wife wasn't
part of the thing. It's all focused on him.
It was his obsession. Yeah. He was the one having the nightmares, and she's like, well, let's let the investigators investigate. He's like, I got to figure this out, but the music in this thing, you don't think necessarily when you hear, because this had crazy audio. It had a lot of like, that kind of Jaws, like bump, 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 and adding to the tension. But all those things were actually 36 separate titled tracks. Like you can get a soundtrack of this movie where there's these 36 ideas, and they have like so-and-so's theme, the at the park, the crackhead theme, whatever that, and to think of it that way, two people basically, plus Zach Cregger, they compose these 36 things as separate entities, and they install them when appropriate. So it gives continuity to the movie because you see this person and you hear their theme. And then you see this kind of action and you hear its theme. And I'm the big Star Trek guy, right? And the Star Trek was very much like that. Like they had the tension scene, they had the gratification music, they had the the command thing, and I found that real interesting in this movie. Now I always talk about the soundtrack, and the one real weird thing, the movie started out with George Harrison's was a hit song, "Beware of Darkness." I thought it was weird then.
Is that when the kids are running out? That whole little montage of
the
them
very
leaving
beginning
the house?
of the movie, when they're just showing and you said about the cinematography, like they had the Hitchcock stuff, right, where the kids are coming out of the bus to go to school, but the camera angle is looking down from the roof of the bus as each kid's coming out, and they're running up the stairs. But yeah, for the first 3 minutes of the movie, they play "Beware of Darkness," which is a really weird song on its own. And George Harrison, one thing you can say for him, he grew up with Lennon and McCartney, and he played all their songs. But when it came time for him to write his songs, they were really different. When he had those "All Things Must Pass" album, it was not a Beatle album. It wasn't like, well, yeah, he's friends with these guys. It sounds just like him. So it's interesting that when you're an artist, like what you do has to come out. Like you almost can't be influenced. I did some writing, and I thought, well, if I read some great authors, then maybe I would write like them. And so I read like Truman Capote and Cold Blood or something. That my writing was nothing like that. Like I was still just Fred, doing my thing. And that song, I don't know where it came from, like in his life. And it was the fact that it was used in this movie was such a strange adaptation. So Zach Cregger must have, when you said the scene with the woman with the scissors coming to the car and stuff, that was such a pivotal or separate moment. It's a short. That was a horror movie in itself. The lady coming out of the house, the lady sleeping in the car, her approach. It was the same thing here. Zach Cregger must have heard that song and just fell in love with it. Like, this is "Beware of Darkness," because this movie's all about darkness. You even said they had all this dark filming and everything. And it could have not, that song could have not been there. Yeah. It could have been just some light thing or something, but that added a weird element to the movie, and it made me think of just how weird George Harrison was, and where the heck was he coming from? It was he and Lennon and McCartney. They grew up in post World War II England, where everything was blown to smithereens, and everything. I mean, they were wearing clothes that they found. Like, there was no economy. They didn't have Canadian bacon. The Canadians sent over this ham. They didn't have any meat in the country. It was like that. So they all had a traumatic childhood. And it really, it shows in Lennon. It doesn't show in McCartney at all. He's the happiest guy on earth. But Harrison, man, there was a weird dark side to him that's just perfect for this movie.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention it. And because I thought about it right when the movie started and that song was playing. I went in a lot of directions with it because I was just out of high school when the album came out.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, why this? What does this mean? Because you think of Harrison as a religious guy, and horror movies a lot of times have elements of religion in them.
Right.
Just wow. Zach Cregger. It's a new thing for me. He has other credits to his name, but I'm going to watch this guy because he's not afraid to go way out there. Yeah,
no, same. And his blend of I like his type of horror so far. I like his humor as well, the sense of humor. I'm looking forward to what he does next. I'm always happy to see who are the next kind of people coming up that are going to be our new we need a Toby Hooper. We need a John Carpenter. We need a Wes Craven. We need the next generation. And, I think it's people like him and Ari Aster and all that. Yeah.
An ensemble like how the Coen brothers had those same
Robert
guys.
Eggers and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to jump to the kind of climax real quick.
Which one?
Because I thought it was great. The climax of there's the big kind of fight with the zombie guys in the house. But when the kid uses the spell on Gladys,
right,
and all the kids, because he's just watched her do it, and all the kids are running after her. That was such a awesome moment that just had like an ear to ear smile on my face. Everyone in the theater like didn't know whether to laugh or scream. Everyone's like, what? And they're just like running through the houses, breaking. So there's like people just like cooking dinner, watching TV. All these kids are running through.
Well, it's one thing if it's one thing if the crackhead is like running through backyards and jumping over fences and stuff because he's a crackhead.
Yeah.
But when Aunt Gladys is running full speed,
right.
smashing through doors and punching her way through stuff, and like like nothing, and with the kids all chasing her. The bewitched kids.
Yeah.
Right?
And I just thought it was
her
brilliant too.
When she realizes that the spell is broken,
yeah.
she goes,
yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It just takes off. She just takes off like all the voodoo in the world doesn't beat. Run!
Right. Yeah.
Run!
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. There's no stopping it. And just the fact that they are, when they're under the spell, like this unstoppable force, like they're not going to get tired. Like even there's that when they show Marcus Benedict Wong, when she first sends him after Justine, and it's like jump cutting between him like running across the whole town, but nonstop. And the same with these kids, and they're gonna take the straightest line possible. So they're over here breaking down doors, breaking down gates, going through windows.
Yeah, and the families of all those houses.
Yeah.
It's almost like when the Blues Brothers are in the mall and they're just smashing the car through every store in the mall.
Yeah.
Like these kids are running through people's houses and just destroying the house as they go. And all the people in those houses are going like, oh my God, look what they did to my garden. Look what they did to like that kid tracked money.
Yeah, like later when Josh Brolin's walking through, you just hear the dad, like some guy is like, look what they did to the yard.
Right.
Like never mind the fact that like 17
they're
kids
tearing
just
an old lady to pieces or tearing her limb from limb.
Yeah. Right. Especially when they know there's like kids missing in this town or whatever. It's just funny. But and I love like George Romero zombie films. So when we get to the end, when they catch up to her, I'm it's nice to see a little bit of justice. Not everything is resolved, but she had it coming.
Right.
And she she
got killed in her way.
She got it. Yeah.
It wasn't like she was shot by somebody.
Yeah. It was through her own weapons,
magic.
right? And her own magic. And I love that they dug into and they I could have done a little bit more, but we get this kind of Dawn of the Dead type situation when they're just, kind of tearing her apart. And then after, when they're all just like standing there, just staring, everyone's got the blood.
It was kind of like, it was funny, like Shaun of the Dead was funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Shaun of the Dead when they're just going berserk.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's a funny line to toe. Like when a filmmaker can have a wild kill like that with a lot of blood and some good like gore effects and all that, but to have people laughing at it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like that's like a talent to do that. And there's some degree of catharsis for it too, because you want to see her get what's coming. She's done all these terrible things, and it is sad.
The kids get her.
Yeah.
The kids get her.
Yeah. And there is something sad too to the fact that like, not everybody makes it out in the end. And the parents, because now she's dead, the parents are stuck.
Well, when Julie Garner shoots the cop, right in the head, that's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's still like, for me, it's even with that, it's still a dark bummer ending. And like the kids are still under the spell. It does say like eventually some of them started to talk again, but it's they're still in this kind of vegetative
they didn't snap
state.
out of it.
Yeah.
I thought when she was dead, it would be like Ding Dong, the witch is dead. The flying monkeys would all be happy. But they weren't. They were still bewitched.
And then with the little boy, because they even say like,
that's part of the sequel.
Yeah. Like his parents are still eating soup somewhere. So clearly they're institutionalized and he got like a foster family. It's just like sad.
Well, let's give a special credit to Carrie Christopher, the little boy actor. The actor Carrie Christopher who played the part of that little boy, because he was not creepy.
Yeah.
But he was sort of the only one who really knew everything.
The
police didn't know, the school didn't know. He was really the pivot man. He was like the key to the whole thing. Ah, man, this movie's got so many great elements. It just touches everything. It's There's nothing missing. The audio is great. The cinematography is great. The story is incredibly good. Different, really different.
Yeah.
It's a unique story, and I always love that. I don't want to just see another Amityville horror. I don't want to. We've seen The Exorcist. We got it. We got it.
Yeah,
We
right.
got,
Right.
right. But this thing was, and it was, as you said, there was hilariously funny. I went in a packed theater. People were laughing. People were laughing out loud in the theater multiple times during the horrifying movie.
Right. Yeah.
And then the thing we didn't mention, you see in the picture, the kids run with their arms out like this, like an airplane. And when I came out of the packed theater, people were going to the restroom and that kind of thing, and they were doing this. I ran up and down the hall like this, and when I did, everybody started laughing, and then like 20 more people started doing it. Like everybody was running like that with their arms out.
I can see that. That's great.
Yeah, it was really.
I would love just to see a whole theater, everyone leave running out.
Right, just all run out like that, and
that would be some good like viral marketing if they like had they paid for a bunch of people to do that. That'd be like a viral video, everyone like running outside.
The whole audience is bewitched. Yeah. And a guy said to me, like far from there, like farther out to the outdoor or something like that, he goes, "There's no doubt in my mind what movie you saw." Yeah. yeah.
I was reading too that Zach Cregger, an interview, they asked him like, why is that the thing, the arms out? And he said that he had got inspiration from, there's a Vietnam photo called, I guess it's pretty famous, the Terror of War. And it's a photo of some kids running, and there's one little girl in particular, and they're like covered in napalm, and then she has her arms like that, so that's where he got it from.
She's burned.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah.
Pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, a possessed person should have a characteristic.
Yes.
So they all, when they ran out, because everybody had the Ring camera on the front of their house, so they could see their kids leave.
Yeah, right.
And it was kind of cool the way that, they triangulated. It was like, well, they all went to this house, and it was the little boy's house who was the one who wasn't possessed.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, that's where they went, and that was where they went. And that old lady had them all down in the basement, just standing there, Man,
Terrible.
Oh man, they looked like the Terracotta Army, they're just
right.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And when Josh Brolin looked for his son, he went down there. The 17 kids are standing there. He went through them. He's like, no. Here, this is the one. This is like, you're okay. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, so all these other kids. Ah, my God. Man, oh, man. That went from laughing out loud to the hair standing up on your arm in this movie. You got everything.
Yeah.
You fell in love with people. You hated people. It just, a wide gambit of emotions and reactions and, like I said, the beginning started a little slow, but picked up real good.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially once the crackhead.
Yeah.
That character added so much.
Yeah.
I mean, just the stuff he did. He showed his lifestyle in such a way. And what you said was really great. There was a lot of things that didn't bother him, like creepy stuff. It was like,
yeah,
right. And he also didn't mind getting a beating. You know what I mean? He's like, take it easy. What are you doing? Why are you doing this to me?
Right.
Oh, man. Just crazy. Everybody, it's a unique movie. I don't care how many times you watch it. You probably can't watch it too many. Like, not enough, you know what I mean? Like, you can't overdo it. Just great. You were the one that recommended it. And I would have, this kind of stuff. When I see this, it's like, yeah, I know what it is, a missing kid or something. The Children of the Corn, we got it. No, no. I went out of there, freaked out, 11 o'clock at night, riding home on my motorcycle, like, what just happened?
I'm glad you dug it.
It took me like an hour to wind down.
Right.
Like, once I got home, it was, even though it was late, it was like, I think I need to eat.
Yeah.
Anything but soup.
Right.
So,
yeah, man.
Go ahead and walk us out of this.
Yeah, that's a wrap on this one, everybody. Thanks for watching. Let us know. Leave a comment if you like this movie, what your thoughts are. And I think we can both say this is a recommendation from us. So, yeah, that's it. Cheers.